Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. My name is Kyle or VTech, which one I'm going to go with. This is a postseason or post-game podcast against Chicago Blackhawks and Dallas Stars. This is the last game at the United Center of the 2018-2019 season. Hawks are 35, 33, and 12 with 82 points. Obviously, they're out of the playoff race. Um, with a win tonight, they're guaranteed a winning season, so they won't end up 500. They will end up past 500. They're trying to play spoilers for Dallas. Dallas is in the first wild card spot. They are 42, 31, 7 with 91 points. If Dallas loses these two back-to-back games without 1 point, and Avalanche end up winning tonight, because I'm recording this right before the Hawks game for Nashville. But anyways, if they win, then Avalanche will move up to that number one seed and will face the number one person in the Central Division. Starting goalies were Corey Crawford, 14, 18, 5, with a 2.96 goals against and a .907 save percentage. Anton Khudobin at 16, 16, 5 with a 2.47 goals against and a .927 save percentage. And going into the first period, at 7:20 into the game, John Mark gets a tripping on Hayden. Power play can't get anything going. But with about 4:15 left in the game, or in the first period, at 16:45 into the first period, Kane scores. Like scores from, so he's just coming down as a left shot coming down the right wing. He just kind of puts it far side above Khudobin's blocker side for his 42nd of the year. Kajula on the assist at his 10th, and Taves with the assist as well at his 45th assist of the year. Then right there at the end of the period at 19:15, Spetsna gets a cross-checking on Kajula. Then the period ends. Hawks still have a minute 16 left on their power play. First period stats: Chicago had 9 shots on goal. They were 52.9 in the faceoff dot, 0 for 2 on power plays, 0 penalty minutes, 16 hits, 16 blocked shots, 1 giveaway, 2 takeaways. Dallas had 6 shots on goal, 47.1 in the faceoff dot, 0 power plays, 4 penalty minutes, 9 hits, 10 block shots, 4 giveaways, and 3 takeaways. But also leading into the so there in the first period, Crawford makes a beautiful post save. I believe he gets his foot caught his right foot caught in the post, and he was kind of shaken up after that. But he ended up finishing out the whole first period and half of the second period. It was a weird kind of change going to the second period, because we're sitting there. It was right after a commercial break, and next thing you see is, instead of seeing the black pads, you see the white pads, which was kind of weird, a little bit. Then, okay, going into the second period, so at 53 seconds into the first period, Linden gets a delay of game call. I forget who shoots the puck, but it was a weird, he kind of deflects it out of the air, and it goes, I thought it was just a deflection, but he kind of batted it out of the midair, so that caused a delay of game, going off the defensive and stick and going out of play. So there was a 5-on-3 for a little bit. There was no goals on either power play. No goal on the 5-on-3, and no goal on the second power play. Then after that, I would say like 11:20 into the second. Well, I guess it would have been like 11:20 in the game. There, Crawford's out with a lower body injury. That's what I assumed what that case was. Then Ward comes in to relieve him, and then 11:11, Cahoon scores his 13th of the year, assisted by Saad and Seabrook. Saad with his 24th assist of the year, and Seabrook his 22nd. Saad pushed in towards the goal. Godobin stops it, or it gets defended out in front, and Cahoon's sitting right there for the pickup and puts it in the back of the net. Then at 17:51, a goal by Strome, his 20th of the year. Gustafsson, his 43rd assist of the year, and DeBrincat, his 34th assist of the year. Gustafsson gets the puck, goes around the back of the net. He tries to throw it out front. It goes off of a defending Stars player, and Strome is left out in front with Godobin and ends up putting it in the back of the net. So for the second period stats, like I said in the previous podcast, the only thing that is really from the second period is the shots on goal, the face-off power plays, and all that other stuff is combined with the previous period. So Chicago had 14 shots on goal, 56.2 in the face-off dot, 0 for 3 on power play, 0 penalty minutes, 9 block shots, 3 giveaways, and 4 takeaways. Dallas was 14 shots on goal, 43.8 in the face-off dot, 0 power plays, 6 penalty minutes, 15 block shots, 5 giveaways, and 7 takeaways. So even throughout the game, Dallas doesn't seem. I understand they didn't have Ben Bishop, they didn't have Jamie Benn, and they had another big star. I couldn't think of who it was. They weren't playing in the game, but still, even at that, as a playoff team, someone who's going to the playoffs, you would expect a little bit better effort, and they just seemed to we're just playing. They're just playing Chicago. It's not that big of a deal, and I mean, in reality, they could be going from, facing, someone in the Central Division where it's been going up and down like crazy. I mean, they're not too far out of that. You could talk that first place. Not they kind of are, but they, you get what I'm saying. They're kind of there, with a division race there that is gonna, depend on what the Hawks do, what the other teams do. It's just gonna be a big cluster of things that are gonna go on that are in order to happen. But then going and facing Calgary, who has been, decently hot all year. So there's something to play for in that aspect of things. But going to this third period, so at 44 seconds in, Cuckoo gets his second goal of the year, first with the Blackhawks. Seabrook with his 23rd, and Taves with his 46th assist. Now Seabrook's coming down the right side, and he does a cross-crease pass over to Cuckoo. So it was kind of weird seeing two defensemen jump into play like that, and a cross-crease pass that goes in. Then at 6:03, Forsling gets a holding on Janmark, and they give him that one power play, and that one fails as this Barrett, I don't know how the heck you say his name, scores his second. Second gets his 4th assist of the year, or 47th. No, 41st. 47th. No, it's 47th. And Radulov gets his 42nd of the year. And it was nothing Cam Ward could do in that aspect. It was just a perfectly set up. I mean, the Hawks' power play seemed pretty decent, but, their power play, or their penalty killing has been absolutely terrible. Then to top it off at 16:11, Kane scores his second of the game, his 44th of the year. Kajula with his 11th, and Keith with his 34th assist of the year. And Kajula makes a beautiful pass to Kane. Kane's wide open for a breakaway. It goes forehand, backhand. It puts it. He tries to put it 5-hole on Godobin, and he stops it. But then Kane comes in with his left skate, not kicking it, but he just slides into the goaltender a little bit and makes a little contact with the puck, and the puck goes behind Godobin. But just going over the entire game, I mean, really, the Hawks were in control of the game. Besides that one that one penalty kill they had. Crawford and Ward both had to make, tremendous saves. I was hoping that there was going to be a combined shutout, but after that, that penalty, if there wasn't that penalty, then I think there would have been a combined shutout there. Obviously, they both played. You could say they almost played one half of the game each. But Ward got majority of the shots. Dallas wasn't really shooting the puck very well in the first. It was mostly, control of the Hawks a little bit. but they turned up the heat a little bit on the shot portion of it. But I think the Hawks defense kind of played back a little bit. But this was talking about harmony. This is what the harmony was supposed to be. If this team played like this all year, they would be in the race for that President's Trophy. They would be in the playoff race. I mean, the pieces are there. It's just a matter of finally putting the puzzle back together. And I think we're a little bit closer to that portion than we were. But that was a good game to watch, a fun game to watch. Those are the games that I enjoy, where you're just shoving it down the opponent's throat and they can't retaliate. And it makes it a lot better when it's against the Dallas Stars and that they're in the playoffs, and to come out with at least 2 wins here against playoff teams, St. Louis, Dallas, it's the light at the end of the tunnel that we're hoping for, that I want to see. Now going into Nashville tonight is going to be a little bit more difficult because it's Nashville. They are with a Rene. I don't know who we're going to see tonight in net. I'm gonna guarantee you it's probably gonna be Rene, because I mean they're fighting for a playoff spot, and you can't get slipped up by a team that's not in the playoffs. So I expect their best to be there to stay number 1 in the Central. But the game stats here: Chicago had 9 shots on goal in the third, and Dallas had 15. The overall game stats here: Chicago had 32 shots on goal, 55.8 in the faceoff dot, 0 for 3 on power plays, 2 penalty minutes, 23 hits, 17 block shots, 11 giveaways, 7 takeaways. Dallas had 35 shots on goal, 44.2 in the faceoff dot, 1 for 1 on power plays, 6 penalty minutes, 17 hits, 20 block shots, 7 giveaways, and 10 takeaways. So technically the turnovers were about the same. Dallas obviously wins the specialty teams play, but it just came down to Dallas gave up 3 penalties, and that's a lot to give up. That's 6 minutes of time that you're not really on the attacking portion of the game. So penalties do kill, even if no one scores. I mean, if someone scores, it kills a lot more. But the Hawks were Kane was scoring. You had different people scoring. Kunitz finally he scores his 5th of the year in his potential last home game. And going back to Kunitz's goal, he was, he shoot the puck, and the puck is starting to go towards the back of the net, and I forget who it was, kind of like bats it out, and there's no goal. They're saying no goal, no goal, no goal. The game continues on, and Dallas ices the puck to take a second look at it, and you see that the full puck just barely crosses that red line for him to score. So that was a a good moment for him. The team was all around him on that portion, and it was just good to see a guy who has 4 Stanley Cups, played over 1,000 games, didn't play a lot this year, really be humble about everything, just be a good leader. Just someone who is a good person at heart and just loves the game, no matter what he's doing. People always say especially this year, they're saying that he always has a smile on his face. He's just a good person to be around. So, that's something that you need from leadership, and that, that's a, good position for him to be at, and all that other good stuff. Now we're going into individual stat leaders. Chicago's individual stat leaders were Eric Gustafson at 22:59 on time of ice. Kane had 9 shots on goal. Connor Murphy, Cuckoo, and Kajula all had 4 hits, and Anisimov was 66.7 on the face-off dot. Then Dallas individual stat leaders at 20:39, Klingberg on time on ice. Camus and Sagan both had 4 shots on goal. Ritchie had 4 hits, and Dowling was 62.5 in the face-off dot. Now looking at the goalie stats here, Corey Crawford was 9 for 9, 1,000%, no goals against. Cam Ward was 25 of 26 for a .962 save percentage and 1 goal against. And Anton Khudobin had 26 of 32 for a .812 and 6 goals against. And when the Hawks score their their goals. Uh, they were expecting like a goalie pull, especially after the fifth one. But I think since it was already in the third, there's no reason to bring out a goalie. I don't think has played in the NHL yet because Ben um, Bishop did not make the trip to Chicago. They just stayed there in Dallas because it's one of those games that you can kind of afford to lose, but yet again you want to see more production from other people, and they didn't see that production. But I mean, it was just the Hawks were ready to play. They came out fast paced. They weren't slow. They had the foot on the pedal the entire time, and they take a 6-1 win there, and that's just something that you want to see. You want to see positivity to a season that started out really bad. You switch up the coach, and it still is going downhill, and then things start to change around. And you climb yourself into the last 2 weeks of maybe possibly making the playoffs if you would have handled your business. And it was one of those things that they, it's a positive to see out of it. I think that the players that are coming up, you'll start to see a better dynamic, I think, with a new, off season, a long off season, yes, of the players, but then hopefully Jeremy Collinson stays with it, stays with them. Hopefully the GMs and the owner and all them don't, just decide to take the team and say, just rip this apart, let's get a whole new coaching staff, or whatever the case may be. I don't think that they're going to do that, but I think that with Jeremy Collinson pushing his system forward will be a lot better coming into the long run. But like I said, with that win, the Hawks guaranteed a winning season. They travel to Nashville for their last regular season game, last game of the 2018-2019 season. If the Hawks win this game and St. Louis or Winnipeg, if they win or whatever that case, however that's going to roll around, can basically almost completely change how the Western Conference playoff race is going to look. So the Hawks are looking, to maybe, spoil that a little bit. But Nashville has 98 points, just 1 point above Winnipeg and St. Louis. So there's a lot that can go on and change around if that happens. But with time ticking down until the playoffs and watching every game and seeing what's going on, I think I will do once the matches are fully set, I think I'll do a podcast on the playoffs as far as the brackets and how they're turning out and which teams I think that are going to win, or who's going to be the top two. And I'm struggling to figure out of the Eastern Conference who's going to be put in that Stanley Cup Finals, because I mean it's potentially anyone. Anyone from Tampa Bay all the way down to Carolina. I mean, it's going to be a tough battle. I think once I look at everything, I kind of break everything down a little bit, I think I'll get a better determination. But the Eastern or the Western, I think that the top two are going to probably be Winnipeg and Calgary are going to be the battle on that side. I think Calgary may turn it, they may, but I'm leaning more towards Winnipeg because I think Winnipeg has the ability to dig themselves out of holes, and if Line A gets hot again, if a lot of people get hot again, I think that'll push them to the Stanley Cup Finals. But it's what this playoff hockey. It's 2 months of great hockey, so I can't wait for that. Wish the Hawks were in it, but it's one of those things you can't really complain about. I mean, now you can watch the playoffs with ease. You don't have to worry about your team playing, and you do want to worry, but there's not as much pressure on you. You just get to sit back and drink a beer and watch the game and have a good old time with whatever's going on. So I'll probably have a podcast out like that, and I think I'll do for right now, because I'm starting school here Tuesday, so, and with softball games, it's going to be hard for me to watch a lot of the hockey games. It's going to be hard for me to sit down every night and go over the stats of the of whatever games are on and kind of go through and break that down. I think I'll just do like a weekly stat of the games, and then when it breaks down to the the not I would say the Western Conference Finals and Eastern Conference Finals. I may do a podcast after those games. Um, just depending on where the Western Conference Finals are played. I mean, if it's two teams out of the Central, I don't expect the games to be played at 9:30 or whatever. Unlike if they're played um, in the West, the Pacific Division, where they like to play their games at 9:30 at night. So um, there's gonna be a lot of late games on, so it's gonna be a fun, at least for right now, a week of just hockey and watching hockey. So that's gonna be fun to do. But I will get my thoughts and my who I think is gonna come out of the as a Stanley Cup winner. I'll just kind of go over the playoffs real quick. But if you enjoy the podcast, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Also share, whatever. Get more people to watch or whatever, who enjoy hockey and who want to hear it from a small guy who wants to enjoy doing this. If you also like video games, sometimes I stream on Twitch. That description will be down in below. Also, follow me on Twitter when you get updates when when I post videos or whatever the case may be. Some other fun stuff on there. Also, if you want to comment down below what I should do better or what you don't like, whatever the case may be, or if you think I'm ugly or whatever, just whatever you want. Or if you want to talk about questions, something like that, I will go ahead and do that and kind of go through all that other good stuff. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, and hopefully catch you in the next podcast.